Hi everyone and welcome to another video. Today in the office we've had this Dell laptop dropped off. Laptop's around 5 years old. It was due to be replaced anyway, but it's coming to the office today with a faulty hinge. Basically, when the user was opening it, he noticed the hinge was getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer, and eventually he heard a great big crack and the back and the screen bezel popped off. As you can see, as we try and open this up slowly, you can see the mechanism inside has completely come away from the back part. So what could we do to fix this? We don't want to throw it away. Let's see if we can repair it. So, without further ado, let's dive in. So, out of our little toolkit, first thing we need to do is to get a little spudger, and we need to try and pop the front bezel off the display. So this is quite easy to do. It's only held on by plastic clips. It's not as scary as you think. You've just got to take your time and you've got to force it in, and you've just got to twist and twist and twist, and you'll see that it starts to pop off. Now there is quite a few. It's not held on with screws, it's not held on with any glue. You've just got to be patient and you've just got to work your way through methodically. So once we've made our way up the sides and across the top, the best thing to do is just use a little bit of force to just force all the poppers off. Get your fingers down in the sides and run your fingers down, and then the bottom part of these Dell laptops, you've just got to try and get your finger in, and if you pull it forward, then the whole plastic bezel there should pop off. So now we've got a look at the hinges. We can see there should be 4 screws, 2 in each side, and we can instantly see we've got 1 in that side, 1 in the other side, and neither of them seem to actually be connected to the case. It looks like the screw housing is shattered from the case. So the next thing we need to do is to take the display off at the screen case. It's normally a screw at each end. So let's try taking the bottom right out. That's spinning quite freely. It's as though it's not connected to anything. The bottom left is separated from the screen at the back. So that just leaves us the top left and top right actually holding the screen on. So the bottom of the screen is completely away from the actual shell itself. So now let's pop the screen off the shell, making sure not to damage the cable that actually comes from the motherboard up through the hinge. If we take a look now at the panel, we can see that the brass collet there has completely come away from the case at the back. So now we've removed the cable from the panel, let's move that out of the way, and let's take a look at the hinges. So as we can see here, the right hand hinge is extremely tight. That's taking some force to move. We're actually moving the actual case itself there. So with our little tool, let's see if we can actually get a bit of rotation on them nuts and free them off a little bit. So the left hand one and now the right hand one. It is a bad design this on laptops, it really is. In fact, just unscrewing it there, you can see the tension being released, and that's a lot better now. So a little bit of to and fro in here just to get the tension back right. We don't want it too loose. We have to be mindful of the fact that it's okay testing it like this, but don't forget that when this is all put back together, it's going to have the weight of the panel back on. So tighten it up just a little bit, just get it a little bit right, and we'll take it from there. So having a bit of a shake around, we've found the missing screws from the hinges, and you can see where they've completely separated from the black plastic shell case at the back. So, knowing that this machine will never ever really get used again in production, we are going to use some 2-part epoxy resin, and we're going to see whether or not we can actually just glue the hinge directly back onto the case. Again, this won't be used in production. We'll probably end up giving this to one of our digital divide charities, such as PC Refurb. So like any 2-part epoxy glue, we have to put both parts on a sheet, and we have to give them a really good stir. This combines both parts together. Now we've got our fully mixed glue. We're going to take some of that glue and we're going to place it on the left hand hinge at the back there, and we're going to take the rest of the glue and place it on the right hand hinge. Again, we're going to spread this quite liberally because we want to get a really good adhesion. Now we've got that glue in the hinges, we're going to give the hinge and the case a really good squeeze together and try and get some really good adhesion there. So you might be asking, what's the best way to let this glue set? Well, let's get the weight of the laptop to do most of the work for us. So if we can tip the laptop on its back, we've got the weight of the whole machine there, and if we leave that to dry for 24 hours, so it's 24 hours later, and let's take a look. Everything is nice and glued together. As you can see, the hinge works well, there's no flexing and there's no bowing. So before we fully screw the laptop back together, I think at this point it'd be most prudent to check to make sure that the display still works. So let's connect up the connector, and we'll just temporarily flip the screen backwards again, and let's turn the laptop on and see if that display works. Yeah, that's a win for me. As long as it works, I think we should be okay here now. So, with the machine now turned off, let's take a look at getting that screen back in the case. If you remember, the bottom 2 screws, they were broke, the collets were broke, they had absolutely nothing to screw onto at the back of the case. So the only thing we can do in this instance is screw the top 2 ones in, which are still intact. Again, the hinge still there is working well. Give it a quick press back into the case. Best bet now is to just get the bezel. They're quite hard to click in, to be fair, you know, you have to use quite a lot of force. So the screen's not going to go anywhere even though it's held on by the top 2 screws. Again here, we press really hard. The bottom is really quite difficult to get into, to be quite honest with you. Again, you can hear all the clicking and the snapping here, trying to actually get this bezel to go back in. Few final pushes there on the bottom of the bezel. It really is quite difficult. You really have to give it a really good push. So we turn the machine on now. Again, we've checked the display already, we should be good. Their logo, panel seems okay. So overall, I think we'll take that as a complete win. Again, this laptop would have probably gone for recycling, There's nothing much anybody else could have done with it. So, you know, we have resurrected a machine from the dead, so to speak, and we'll be forwarding this on to PC Refurb, our chosen digital divide charity here in the Greater Manchester area. So one last tidy up there, one last look at the screen. All seems well. The 3 broken screws from the bottom hinge, that's why it wasn't working. So again, thanks a lot guys. Like and subscribe and share the video, and that'd be absolutely fantastic. See you on the next one.